Hello, class. Today we're going to be talking about some basic programming using the motor and the wait commands. The first thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and open up Robot C on your desktops and open your testbed uh, file from previous days. So open the testbed folder. You should already have all of your sensors set up from your motors and sensor setup. Remember, this is called the testbed file. And today, what I want to do is change our task description. We're going to play around with the motors. Play around with motors and wait commands in the code. All right, so you can go ahead and put that in there. So let's go back to our PowerPoint here. Our motors, we've got two different types. There's the 269s and the 393s. 269s are a little bit smaller. We are actually using the newer 393 motors. That's why in our motor and sensor setup menu, we chose the 393 motors instead. All the motors are programmed the same way in Robot C, regardless of what types of motors you have, and they will accept any value between 127, which is full speed forward, and negative 127, which is full speed in reverse. Now remember, your motors have to be connected to your Cortex using one of these motor controllers if they're on ports 2 through 9, which in our case, we have a motor on port 2 and port 3. So we need these motor controllers to be hooked up. And make sure that the motor controllers match the red wires to the red wire and the black wire to the black wire going towards the motor. And the part that connects to the Cortex is keyed in such a way that it can only go in one direction. So if it doesn't fit one direction, just flip it around, it should fit the other direction. So the very first code that we're going to do is we're just going to turn on motor 2 for 5 seconds. That's all we're going to do for this next program right here. Let's go back to our program. Now all of our programming, I'm going to put some spaces down here. All of our programming should go between these two curly braces between task main. So task main, this is the main task of the robot. So anything from this curly brace to this curly brace is going to be considered part of our main program. So we can go ahead and start. You can either go over here to natural language and robot motion, and movement. If you go to movement, we've got start motor and stop motor. You can either click and drag and drop these tasks in here, or you can just type them in. All right, so we're going to start with start motor. Our motor port, we can replace this word with the name of our motor. In this case, we're going to type in right motor. And this name has to be spelled exactly like what's in your motors and sensor setup for right motor, including capitalization rules as well. All right, so it needs to be lowercase r, capital M. And our speed, we're just going to go, let's just go full speed here, 127 forward. All right, we can put in a wait to make this wait for 5 seconds. And again, you can go to the wait and go to wait time. You can just click and drag that over if you'd like to. I usually don't bother with going and finding stuff since I know all the commands. I'm just going to type in wait 5 and a semicolon at the end of that. Now remember, semicolons show the end of the statement. You always need to put matching punctuation. So if it uses a parentheses, it's got to have an open and a closed parentheses. So that's how we need to code it. And after we wait 5 seconds, we need to stop our motor. So we can just type in stop motor, right motor. And again, you can go and find that and drag and drop that. That's all right. I just type it in because I know what the commands are. So stop your motor. All right, and you can clean up that white space if you'd like. Another thing that I like to do is press fix formatting. And that kind of puts in the right indentation, so it puts in that white space there. It just makes it look a little bit neater. And you can go ahead and take all that in there. So if you want to put some comments in here, you can do this. You can put in 2 slashes. This is start motor at full power. This next line, I'm just tabbing there, is waiting for 5 seconds. And this would be a comment, stop motor. All right, so at this time, you can go ahead and download to your robot and see if it'll work. All right, so we'll go ahead and start on the next part here. If you had any problems, there might be red X's or yellow X's over here on the side, and you can go down here at the bottom, and if you bring this tab up, there might be a compiler editor thing down here that tells you, maybe it'll say like line 27, it might say something about substituting a variable name. It might be spelling, it might be just maybe the power, or you're missing a semicolon, but it should tell you down here in the compiler errors box what your errors are saying. So check that box, and then if you can't figure it out, maybe ask Mrs. Rosemeyer if she's there. And if not, just wait till tomorrow, and just make sure that everything is in there exactly like what's up here. It should work just fine. All right, so we have the motor turned on for 5 seconds. So again, just to recap here, we've got the task main, which defines the main task of your robot. We've got the start motor. This one is actually 63. It's about half power. They're waiting for 5 seconds. You can put a decimal in there, 5.0. That would be okay too. I just put 5 because it's the same thing. And stop motor. So if we wanted to wait 5.5 seconds, we could put 5.5 seconds. That would be okay. And just remember that they have to be in between the curly braces. If you have an open curly brace at the top up here, but no ending curly brace, your codes will not work. Alright, so now create a program that runs a motor for 5 seconds at half speed and then download to the robot, which is what we just did. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and looking at some other stuff in here. If you go to motor and sensor setup, you do have a reversed button here. All that does is just it reverses. If you put in a positive number, it's going to change it to a negative number. And if it's a negative, it'll make it a positive number. Alright, so some naming rules, just to recap. When you make a name for a robot, a sensor or something like that, it should be descriptive of the sensor, like a right motor or a front bumper switch, something like that. All these variable names must be made of one-word names. They can be made up of letters, numbers, and spaces. They can't have any special characters like the and sign, the $sign, slashes, anything like that. And it can't already be a robot C reserved word like task, motor, true, things like that. So it can be anything. Typically, your first letter, like right or front, would be lowercase, and the second word would be capitalized with no spaces. All right, so for the rest of the class, I have 3 motor exercises for you. The first one is to turn the right motor on forward at half speed, so about 63 power, for 5 seconds, and then stop. All right, so we've pretty much already done that. You can just change it to half speed instead of full speed. The second task, you're going to turn on the left motor in reverse, so that's a negative number, at 3/4 speed for 2.5 seconds, and then stop. So use your head or use your calculator to figure out what 3/4 of 127 is. You can just put in a whole number. If it rounds to something, that'd be fine. And then stop the program. And then for number 3, see if you can figure out how to turn both motors on at full power and spinning in the same direction for 7.25 seconds, and then stop. So see if you can get both left and right motors to spin at full power in the same direction for 7.25 seconds, and then see if you can stop them. All right, once you get that figured out, if you would like to play around with the programming, see if you can program your motors to do different things, that would be fine for the rest of the day. And hopefully I'll be back tomorrow. Have a great afternoon, guys. See you later.